Good morning and welcome to Succah Daf Chet, Succah number 8. Shmuel, you ready for today's daf?
Today's daf. Oh, there's pictures.
Did you daven for me? That I should give a good shirt today?
Okay.
You should daven for me. I need to see out the Shmaya. The viewers are not tuning in. We need some more viewers on YouTube. So,
What do you mean?
have you ever
People are watching
considered?
this?
Yeah, have you ever considered starting your own YouTube channel, Shmuel? And you could build off the experience you had here. You know, your popularity here. You can build it into your own YouTube channel, like a spin-off. You know.
Ah,
You know what a spin-off is?
no.
You know, like when they have a TV show or whatever,
Yes.
it's very successful, so they build it into a spin-off. It's like a similar TV show. Like The Simpsons went to Family Guy. I don't know if that, or Family Guy went to the Cleveland show. You know what these things are?
Sure.
Sure. All right, let's
Okay.
start. We got a lot to do today. All right. The bottom of Zion Amud Beis. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. We said yesterday that Acherim say that a sukkah that's circular is possible. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, he'll do a big share. A sukkah asuk kivshan, if it's circular, like a circular oven, if within the perimeter of the sukkah, inside the perimeter, you can sit 24 people, it's shera. You need it to be that big. If it's not that big, it's possible. Come on, who is that like? Rebbe. Must be the only person we found. You need a sukkah that's very big. It's like Rebbe. The Amar called sukkah she'ein ba'arba amos al arba amos psula. If the sukkah is not 4 amos by 4 amos, it's psula. So the Gemara calculates this. Michti gavr ba'amsa yosef. How much space does a person sit? He sits in an amma. Kol sheyesh be'kefo shlosh tefach and yesh bo rochav tefach. We know that whenever you have a circle, if you want to figure out the diameter, right? The diameter is always 1/3, right? The circumference is the perimeter of the circle, how big it is on the outside. And the diameter is the line across the circle to measure straight across to measure it. So usually it's a ratio of 1-3. The Gemara says. Now we know obviously that it's not exactly 1-3. It's pi. You heard of pi? The mathematical term pi. Pi is about 3 1/4 point of million decimal numbers. A lot of people have tried to memorize pi. I think it's the Guinness Book of World Records. Someone who actually memorized the most decimals after 3.14. Maybe we should try that, Shmuel. Again, the Guinness Book of World Records. Anyway, the Gemara rounds it off. The Gemara says 1-3 ratio. Sagi. So therefore, if you want to make your square sukkah, 4x4 sukkah, according to Rebbe, into our circle, it would only have to have a perimeter of 12. So why did the Gemara say it's 24? It's exactly 12, not 24. So Hani Mili Bigula. That's only talking about when you have a circle. Now we're calculating Rebbe's sukkah. Rebbe had a 4x4 sukkah, 4 amos and 4 amos. The perimeter of that sukkah, if you add 4 times, it's 16. So obviously you need a circle at least 16. So Michti, Kam Maruba Yosral Eagle Revia. It's right. It's 1/4 bigger, meaning the circle would be 12 and the square would be 16. The Shitzer Sagi, why does Rabbi Yochanan say 24? He should say 16. The Gemara says no. Hani Mili be equal to Nafik Mikor Ravua. That's only talking about a circle which is circumscribed, which is inside a square. Aval Rivua the Nafik Mikor Igula. But here we want to make it into a circle. We take the square of Rabbi and we want to put that in the circle. By its face, you need a bigger circle. Mishum Morsha the kindness of, because the extra space you see in the diagram next in your Gemara, there's extra space outside of the square to fill in. So how much bigger is it? Michti kol amsa berivua amsa v'trei chum shebal kasuna. So we took the square in the middle, right? So the biggest line you can make in the square is going from corner to corner, from one corner to the opposite corner when you go diagonally. So diagonally, instead of being 1 across, it would be 1 2/5. Whatever. So if it's 4 across, so it's 4 times 1.4, 1.1 2/5. So the Gemara says, the Gemara calculates the b'shivser and chichum sheisagi. You're going to end up with a circle of 16 and 4/5, 16.8 sagi.
What is 4/5? 2/5, you said. No, is it 2?
No, it's exactly. Meaning 1. If you convert 1, if the length and the width of the square is 1,
Yes.
so then diagonal across from corner to corner,
Yes.
you're on a diagonal, so it would be 1 2/5. So now we have to convert that to a square of 4 by 4. So therefore, it's 4 times 1 2/5, 1 and 2/5. 1
Yeah.
2/5 is 1.4. So 4 times 1.4,
Yes.
right, is let's see, 1.4. So that's 5.6, right?
Okay.
And then you have to times that by 3 because that's only your diameter of your circle. Now you have to make the hekef, the entire perimeter of the sukkah, right?
Right.
So therefore, 5.6 times 3 would equal 16.8. Yeah, got it?
Okay.
So the Gemara says lo dak. When Rabbi Yochanan said 24, he wasn't precise. He really meant 16.8. Amor de Amrina lo dak porta. Tulami Amrina lo dak. We're going to say he wasn't precise so much. He's off by almost 7 amos. Amalei Mar Kashisha Breder of Kista the Rav Ashi Misavas Gavra Amsa Yosef plus the Gavri Bitarte Amsa Yosef. No, we made a mistake. It wasn't that a person sits in 1 amma. 3 people sit in 2 ammas. So each person occupies 2/3 of an amma. Kama havelhu. So how much is it going to be? Shitzer. So therefore, if you deduct 24 and you take 2/3 of 24, you're going to end up with 16. And if we want to learn like Rebbe, we're going to need a circle that's 16.8. And Yochanan is saying a circle of 16. To sit 24 people will be a circle of 16. So the Gemara says lo dak. He wasn't precise. Is he going to be not precise to go lakula? He's going to say a sukkah that can fit 16 people. That's a perimeter of 16 is almost a share, but really according to Rebbe, we know he has to be going according to Rebbe. You need 16.8. So he's being makel. You're going to sit in a sukkah that's not kosher. Too small. So the Gemara says, we're going back. No, really, a person occupies an amma. The Rabbi Yochanan, Makom Gavri Lokachasher. Rabbi Yochanan, we thought Rabbi Yochanan was talking about 24 people inside the circle. No, we're talking about outside the circle. 24 people sitting outside the circle. Therefore, you have to take off one amma on each side, right? Because instead of the person sitting inside the sukkah, you take the circle and you make it smaller, and the person sits outside the sukkah.
But he's not going to be Yetziv sitting outside the sukkah.
Right. You're not going to be able to sit outside the sukkah, but he's just talking about a measurement of a sukkah. That was his way of describing it. It's a good point. Maybe that's why the Gemara didn't want to come to it until this point. So the Gemara says, Kama Havalahu Tmani Sari. It's going to end up being, right, if you deduct an amma on each side, it's going to be 18. We just said before that according to Rebbe, the circle is going to have to be 16.8. So you're saying 18. Really, it's only 16.8. How do you do a low dak? The chumra low dak.
It's what?
Shiv star nechi chumsha. 17 minus a chumash.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's 16 and 4/5. So the Gemara says, "How do you do low dak? The chumra low dak." He wasn't specific, and the chumra. He said 18. Really, it could be even 16 and 4/5. So Rabbanan the Kisri, Amri dying the Kisri, Amri igula the nafik migo revu or riva. Like we said before, that you look in the first picture on top. That when you have a circle that's inside the square, so therefore the circle is 12, let's say, and the square would be 16, so it's 1/4 the extra space. Rivua on Chedem Beis, Rivua the nafik migoi gula. But if you have like our case, like the one we wanted to describe, where you have the square is inside the circle, palga. The Gemara says that would be half. It would be half of the square. I mean, the square is the circumference. If you add up the perimeter of the square is 4 times 4 is 16. Half of 16 is 8. So you add another 8 to the circle, so you get 24. That would be like Rabbi Yochanan said, 24. So that's another answer to our question. That's how we came. The rest of Eloi, can't be right. We know that really the mathematical conversion would give a circle of 16 and 4/5, and not a circle of 24 amos. How were they off by so much? How did they make such a mistake? The Vilna Gaon talks about this.
Really?
Yeah.
This is a geometry things, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's a long Tosas over here about it. He says maybe there's a way of making sense out of it. The Gra, I think, an Erevin tries to make sense out of this. I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't seem to make much sense on the surface how the Rabbanan and these rabbis to make such a mistake, but okay, let's go on. Amar Rabbi Levi, Mishum Reb Meir. Levi says the name of Reb Meir. Shtei Sukkah Shal Yelzer, a new case. You have 2 sukkahs of yotzrim. Now these people make pots. They make pots. They're potters, and they had one house, a permanent house inside, and on the outside they had a smaller hut, which they used to make their pots in, and they used to sell them. And they used to live and store their pots in the inner house, and that was more of a permanent structure. They used to move around a lot. They used to move around. Maybe they would stay for 12 months in a place, and they would move somewhere else where they could find more buyers. Zulif nimizua, pnimis ain't a sukkah. You can't use the pnimis for a sukkah, even though sukkah yeshana, we possibly base hillel shera. As long as you made a sukkah, you don't have to make it l'shem chag for the mitzvah of sukkahs, and it has the right schach. It's still possible because it's like your house. It's not nicker that it's l'shem sukkah. It's like your house. You're living in there. But Tosa says in that base sukkah so below base. So you can't live in you can't make a sukkah in your house. Your house can't be a sukkah. If your house,
I saw a lot of people just take off the roof and they put on the schach. They live in their house. I mean,
right, because they're putting on the schach every sukkahs. But if you live in you have schach on your roof for your whole life, right?
Right. We hope it doesn't whatever.
I actually saw in the newsletter they gave out the Kilaton this week. They were offering a couple of apartments, with schach as the roof.
Are you joking?
Schach as the roof. They're giving a special deal. They're giving off 100,000 shekel. Instead of 2.2 million shekel, it's 1.9 million shekel. But this is a special deal. First come, first serve.
That's right. Until the city comes
they're
in.
They're doing it.
The city comes in and
knocks it down.
Knocks it down because it's not a.
No, exactly the opposite. They'll keep it because it's not a permanent structure.
Yeah, but it's on illegal,
when you start building illegally,
public property.
Then they knock it down.
Once I was looking to buy a house and there was I went through the house and there was one room and he said, excuse me, he said, he took part of the land of Schneller, of the army base. And so he said, it could be they're going to come one day.
And they haven't come yet?
He said, and so far they haven't come. So then he said,
you own your apartment or you rent?
We own it, but I'm talking about a house in Yerushalayim we looked at.
Oh, okay. And the Schneller project.
Yeah, it was right on the edge of the Schneller project. He said half the room is really belongs to the Schneller project, so they might come one time and
then what? Put that giant chessboard down. You ever see the picture of the Schneller? They have this Avrich. He's like playing. He has like a giant chess set. It's like the size of a huge chess set. Maybe they were going to put the chess set in that place. Then knock down your house and put a chess set over there.
Yeah, this Avrech, he owns this 20 million shekel house.
He learns really well in his kollel.
He brings in these pictures, masterpiece oil paintings. They look like they belong in Metropolitan.
He came to the Rosh Kollel and he told them, listen, you want to have 12 guys? Just take me. I'm like 12 guys. He got paid like 12 guys. He got 12 salaries. It's still not enough to afford Schneller, but all right.
So what happened to these?
Anyway, so the potter, the inside house is really his house, and you can't make a sukkah out of your house. That's why it's not kosher for sukkah. Uptura min mezuzah. The chayav is mezuzah, and it's chayav mezuzah because a permanent house is chayav. A dira is chayav mezuzah. The achitzona, the outside one, sukkah, that you could use for a sukkah because you don't live there. You just would reside there temporarily for sukkah. So p'tura min mezuzah is patur min mezuzah because it's not your living space. It has to be a dira. That might have a chitzona k'beishar pnimis. Let's say the inner one is really like your house, so it should be like a gatehouse adjoining your house. And that's for this chayav mezuzah. That's chayav mezuzah. The mezuzah mishum gelo kviya. Rashi, I think here says because your house, the inner house, is not kavua, so it doesn't warrant a beit shar. You would also say a different shal, but lo kviya. This is the way I wanted to learn. It's the lokviya is that it's not even a beit shar. It's not a beit shar. It's a beit shar is a gatehouse for people watch. You're just selling stuff over there. It's not really a kavua place for a person to sit. Tana Rabbanan, ganbach, ganbach.
Oh, by the way, also the Schneller one, they're obviously they're advertising for American families, so it's not a
right. Of course, we know the father, the rich father. The oil magnate, the real estate mogul, they bought him the apartment for his grandkids, get nachas from his grandkids.
You have even young people. You have people that are even Eitar, but they made it big and like you made it big on the stock market or real estate, and They're yeshiva light, but
Most of them get money from their parents and their grandparents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they have this picture in Schneller with the the grandfather walking,
the
walking,
grandfather
and
all
the
the time.
grandfather,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
the rich
grandfather.
grandfather, the real estate mogul. Yeah, he owns property in Australia, Los Angeles, Belgium,
Tokyo, right?
yeah, everywhere.
That's right.
All right,
Okay,
Singapore. All right.
Singapore.
Do you know which currency is worth the most?
No.
Which single currency, which one bill, a currency, is worth the most?
In the world?
The world, you know, which currency?
The rupee. Rupee.
The rupee they use a lot of countries, but it's actually the Kuwaitan dollar. It's worth $3.
Really?
Each Kuwait dollar is worth $3
You're
American
joking.
dollars. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
The richest. After that, I think is the
They
pound,
have
the
one.
British
They also
pound.
have they have all these buildings. They have
They have a
some
lot of
Kuwait.
oil.
They have these, what do you call it?
You know the capital of Kuwait?
The capital of Kuwait?
Yeah, what's the capital? Do you know where Kuwait is? Is it in the Middle East? Is it in the Far East, the Near East, the West, Far West? Is it in the Pacific Ocean?
It's somewhere. It's not
It's
near.
near Iraq. It's in the Middle East. It's
Okay.
Kuwait is Kuwait City is.
Kuwait City.
Yes,
No,
that's
that
the
was-
name. That's an easy one. All right.
Okay.
Tarban Ganvach Sukkos Goyim Sukkos Nashim Sukkos Behema Sukkos Kusim Sukkah Mikol Malkum Kshera Uvad Shedem Sukkah Kehilchasa. If you have these four types of Ganvach is an acronym for Goyim. Sukkahs either made by Goyim or lived in by Goyim, or they're made. The article says they're made for women to live in, or made for animals, like to store animals, like a pig pen, or Sukkahs Kusim are made for Kusim, which were converts, type of converts. Sukkah, it's kosher. As long as it's Sukkah Kehilchasa, my Kehilchasa. What does that mean? Sukkah Kehilchasa, like it's halachas. Amar Kistav Husha Sel Itzel. It has to be. The person put the schach, it has to be for shade. You can't put the schach for privacy. Privacy is not considered a sukkah. You don't have, we paskins Beis Hillel holds sukkah yeshan and old sukkah. You don't have to do with the same mitzvah of chag, but you do have to do with the shame. The Gemara says here, the shame sell for shade. You put the schach on top for shade purposes, and not just for privacy. Sukkah mikol makom lasuyim. What's the end of this price? Sukkah mikol makom. What is that coming to conclude? Sukkah's rakbash. We're going to see it's another acronym. Tizan Rabbana, another Bryce. Sukkah's Rakbash, Sukkah's Roim. What does that stand for? Roim, for shepherds. Their shepherds stay there temporarily. Sukkah's Kites, and more for people who watched dried figs. Sukkah's Borganin, or a temporary structure for city watchers. Sukkah's Shomrei Peiros, are a place temporarily made for people who watch fruits. Sukkah Mikomakam Kshera Wivad Sukkah. It's a good Sukkah. Sukkah Mikomakam Kshera. Additionally, a sukkah mikol makom is kosher. What does that come to include in the second brayse? It's gone back to include what it didn't say in the second brayse. We said in the first brayse, goyim nashim, behema, and kusim. Haritana, the ganbach, halimolei the ganbach. Right, it's obviously the first thing that they mentioned, ganbach. When I mentioned those four things, it says those are the ideal sukkahs. Those are better sukkahs than rakbash, but the rakbash would also be kshera. So why did the ganbach list ganbach first? Alimale ganbach mishum dekvi. Katana mikol makom lasui rakbash to lo kvi. Ganbach sukkahs goyim nashim. Those are more permanent structures. They're made for goyim to live for a longer amount of time, or nashim to live for a longer amount of time. These rakbash were just made temporarily for those seasonal, when they had to watch the fruits or watch the dates, or shepherd the flock, so they weren't there for that long, but it's still kshero. V'haitana the rakbash alimale rakbash the bnei chiyuvan in it. There, the reason that's better to say first is because the people are all men and they're Jewish, so they're chayiv in sukkah. V'tana mikomakma sui gambach la bnei chiyuvan ninu, women and behemoths.
This non-Jewish person built the sukkah, and it's a good sukkah.
So that's the question. Our school learns over here that we're talking about sukkahs that were made for goyim, made by Jews.
Made by Jews.
But there is, what does Rashi say over here? Rashi doesn't say anything over here. What does he say? Sukkah. Not sure. I don't know what Rashi says. Anyway, the point is, it's a machlokis what the kavan over here is, but it could be that a woman makes a sukkah. It's a kosher sukkah. There's a concept that if you're not mechuyev davar, you can't make something. For example, you're not chayiv in tefillin, you can't make tefillin. You're not having tzitzis, you can't make tzitzis. It's halacha somewhere else in Gittin, I think. So that's the question over here. If you hold, maybe by Sukkah, it's okay. I know when I was in Shar Yashuv, they had this big Sukkah. They made it between the walls of the building, between the dormitory and the main building. They used those two main walls. They had Sukkah very high. It wasn't 20 amos, but they put the schach there, and they had a guy would not put the Sukkah. They would use that thing, or the person sits in there and it goes up. I don't know exactly what it's called. It raises a crate.
Cherry picker.
Maybe that, cherry picker. And he would bring them up, and the guy wouldn't do it. They have a Jew put the actual schach on, because the machmir for that, it's not so posh that you have to be machmir, but
okay, very good.
It's yeshiva. Okay, hope you'll enjoy today's shir. See you again.
Bye.
Bye.